Okay, ready?
I am, I
Oh,
think.
yeah. I mean, it's going to be great. And then it's going to be over. I'm Jess Kenyon, and this is The Dresser. Today on The Dresser, we have Amy Montgomery. I
Hi,
still think of
hi.
you as Amy Lewis Montgomery. I think of you
Yes.
as a three-name person.
Yeah, I sort of answer to whatever, but yeah, I think that's like my professional. I don't even know. I think it's just Amy Montgomery for equity. But then I don't know. I don't even know to tell you that. Just call me whatever.
Sure. I like Amy. We'll just stick with Amy.
Stick with Ames.
The first show we did together was Troilus and Cressida
Yes, it was
back
many,
in the
many
day.
moons ago.
It was so long ago.
Yeah.
Um, It was, I think, one of the last times, well, the first and last time we had a baby in the dressing room.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they've gotten a lot. I mean, things have become weird. I mean, obviously, like your 14-year-old kid can't sit in the dressing room,
No, no. But he
but
was Nidu. He was in his pack and play.
he was 10 months or something.
No, not even. He
He
was
was,
like 7. He was way under a year. When we
yeah,
started rehearsal, I think he was about 7 months old.
wow. I mean, that's awesome. They let all the dogs in the world come,
I know, right? Literally.
but babies don't even.
Well, there's probably a lot different liability there, probably.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like sometimes you have like somebody wanted to bring their like, under 1 year old because their babysitter fell through.
Yeah.
They were like, oh no. And they were barely on stage too.
And
Um,
they'd said no. Well,
yeah. And I was like, we could watch the baby for 10 minutes while you say
sure.
your 8 lines, which is what we did when you were in the
Yeah.
play.
Yeah.
I remember you were like going to make your entrance and you were like, hey, can you just watch Lou for me? And I was like, yes, because I was a child myself.
You were a child, but I think that was one of those days where I don't know, like Mary Kay wasn't in the dressing room or,
Yeah, somebody went to pee and Monty
yeah,
was doing something, and
yeah.
what are
And
you
that
gonna
was
do?
it. You were it. You were
I
on
was
deck.
it. I was on call. I just stood there and talked to him, and he tried to eat the edge
Yes,
of
the
the
playpen,
package. So,
the
yeah,
pack and play.
so we survived, both of us.
Yeah, we're here to tell the story now.
Do you
You
remember anything about Troilus and Cressida? It had this crazy net above the stage at some
Yeah.
point that Andy climbed on. Is that right?
Ooh, now, yeah, I kind of remember that. And what I remember that sorta. I also remember the opening sequence, which was very haunting and freaky, but I felt
Was
so bad for all the
oh,
dressers and the actors that had to do that. I mean, it was an amazing image, but the sort of dead walking under that sort of cheesecloth thing and out through the house and out, and then everybody, that was like the prologue basically, and then all those people had to wipe all that shit off and get in their like costumey costumes, and then they had to put it on again at the end of the show.
yep.
I did not
Um,
feel sorry for any of them.
no,
I mean, I
we
did
had
feel
this
sorry for all of them.
area that they set up, and Malou called it the graveyard
Yeah,
because we were making everybody into these dead soldiers, and it was full body paint, white body paint, with like ashy grays and stuff
yeah,
mixed in, and these like loincloths, and every man in the play
had to
was
do it.
in this, and it
Yeah.
was like, I mean, it must have been 16 people
At least.
at
And it was
least.
I mean, the image was very effective and it was terrifying to watch. And, it was amazing, but it just was I remember, very time consuming. But the interesting thing is, as we all know, like once the show got cracking, everybody had it down to a science. And you just are like, it took, half the time that it did before. And, it was still a pain in the ass, but it wasn't a big deal. It was like, oh,
My
do this, gotta
first
do this
like
now.
actual quick change ever was in that show, and I was just a swing. But I worked a bit. I came in once a week or something. I don't know. I was there sometimes,
Yeah.
and it was Huff Tile came off stage, and he had maybe a minute and a half to get completely undressed, complete full body paint
Off or on.
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 and then dressed again, and then they carried him out.
Yeah.
Like 6 guys carried him, he was like this
Right.
in the air, like they were pallbearers, basically. Carried his body on
Body
stage.
out. Yeah, I remember, yeah, I have some memories of that show. I was the Greek whore for a lot of it. And she had her own story, her own life, her own history. And I remember during tech, I was on stage with all those guys, with like Scott and Greg and who were all those men, the pros that have been like,
I don't think Kevin was in it.
Bill Dick,
sure.
Jim Harms. Was it Jim Harms?
Oh, Jim Harms. Yep, Jim Harms was in it.
Yeah, and I said Greg, right? Winkler.
Yeah.
A bunch of those dudes, and I had to be on stage while they're all talking, and Scott Jake's like eating some chicken, and he throws it down, and I have to like run over and like, I don't know, like eat it. I was like, I don't. And then we noticed that the chicken was so greasy that it made like a splot mark on the set, and they're like, oh, that's not good. So then I'm like, I know. And so they started using dinner rolls. So like Scott would take a few bites off this roll and then like throw it on the stage floor, and I had to like run after it and eat it. Yeah, that was fun.
Well, I think the dinner roll for you is an improvement from eating floor chicken. I'd rather eat floor dinner roll than floor chicken.
Yeah, it was a real challenge. I was it wasn't I just sort of like mashed it in my mouth.
Mashed it up, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't really
eat it.
Yeah.
No. Because you're an actor and you can act. Thank God.
Gross. Yeah.
Tell me.
Yes.
Is there a must-have makeup that you always have with you?
Yeah, over the years that's changed, but I always have to have waterproof mascara no matter what. I always have to have those face wipes, those Neutrogena face wipes.
Everybody loves them.
Make me either that or baby wipes, unscented. However, I don't like the baby wipe smell. And I used to use like that mineral makeup, which was like I loved it, and I thought it was really good for stage and for camera because it doesn't look gloopy or weird. But since I've gotten older, I've sort of switched brands and stuff. But I feel like I have to have a good moisturizer back there. I got to have face wipes and whatever good foundation I'm using.
But you switch it up.
I switch it up just because my skin is always, different, and I'm in my 50s. So I can't use the same shit that I did when I was in my 30s. So
totally.
I'm like, whatever's doing me good at the time is what I would use.
And also, like, I mean, especially for me, and I don't know, I think it's true for everybody, like, you go through different phases where when I was like in my early 20s, I wouldn't have left the house without like full eye makeup.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
and
yeah.
Now I probably wouldn't leave the house with full eye makeup.
Yeah, same. Yeah, totally. It's the older you get, the less makeup you wear, the better. Because otherwise you start to look like the crypt keeper. Like it gets in the cracks, and you got to be real. I read something that when you get older, the older you get as a lady, and especially if you're an actor, like on film too, that you shouldn't use like too much like powdery stuff because it makes you look older. It sits on top of your skin. You got to use the creamy stuff.
Sure.
Pro tip.
Pro tip.
True.
I think it's true. You can always tell when, I just think it like accentuates.
Yeah.
Shit instead of it does the opposite of what you think it's doing.
Exactly. What you want it to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So go for lipstick, then go home.
Yeah.
What do you take with you to every dressing room? Do you have some items that you have to keep with you?
If it's allowed, I always have my little electric kettle and like a little tea sampling and that kind like that. I have a little. So if you don't feel like going to the green room, or if you don't, you can just like hibernate in your dressing room.
That sounds
that
nice.
Kind of stuff. And a robe. I always bring a nice like terry cloth robe that's sort of my theater robe, and my slippers, and a pair of like loungy things. When you're at tech or stuck there all day. Yeah.
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 They're all
And I
great.
might bring a pillow or a foam roller or a, you know how it is, just like shit that's going to make you feel comfortable because you're there all the time. So you kind of have to make a little nest for yourself.
Oh yeah, I have a locker, and
Yeah.
then I also have a drawer, and then
Nice.
I also have like a bag hidden somewhere of
Hmm.
extra things, and then I usually have a little corner of the dressing room where I
Yep.
put, because
And you move around so much, you kind of have to have a little like station in every room or every dressing room because you're always there.
I usually hide a lip gloss, like a lip chapstick
Uh-huh.
somewhere. And I'll be like, okay, now is the moisturizing my lips time of the night.
Yeah.
You know, we all have our dumb routines. But I also am a big tea person.
Yeah.
I am the person who everybody's like, oh, I need a cup of tea. And I'm like, which of these 7 varieties would you like?
Yes, yes, I
I
love
have,
that. And I like essential oils too. I like a lavender oil in the dressing room or something, a lemon or a geranium, something like that. Something uplifting.
totally. I think I keep peppermint for like headaches.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Or nausea. I keep there's also this book that I like that I usually bring. I have 2 copies. Um the Eastern Western one,
Yeah,
that one. Yeah, so it's like a an Eastern Western like Chinese sign and Western horoscope sign book that kind of melds the two together, and it's really fun to like find out people's Chinese sign and then figure out sort of the Eastern Western thing. I mean, that's a really fun way to pass the time during tech or, in between. So
I think it
I
was
usually
from
have that.
I think it was from that book that because I was born in January.
Yeah.
So I thought that I was like the sign for 1982, but January is the end of 1981.
Right.
So I'm actually, I think I'm like a dog, or I don't know what the fuck. I'm something instead of the
Here,
other
I
thing.
have it. Well, we can look it up in a minute. I have it right here. So wait, what year were you born?
Well, it'll be 81.
Okay. But January of 81.
No, January of 82.
Of 82. Right. So you're a dog.
Yeah,
Well, what's the day in January?
13th.
No. Wait. Yeah, no, you're a rooster because it goes the rooster, it goes from 2/5/81 to 1/24/82. So you're before the cutoff, so you're a rooster. I'm a rooster.
Yeah, I'm a cock.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, stubborn, feisty, not
uh,
taking no shit.
Confident, um, communicative. Here,
Let's read it. Come on.
hold on.
Some
Let me find
quarantine
it.
content.
But you're January. So wait, are you a Capricorn or are you into
I'm a Capricorn.
you're Capricorn?
Mm-hmm.
So you're a Capricorn rooster. Okay. Oh my God. Oh my God. I wonder if your name is in this one. I've had 2 books and I don't know. I usually write people's names in it.
I feel like I did write in it at some point, or you did.
We're getting there. We're getting there. It's a big book. Yes, Jess Kenyon. First person written in there from a million years ago. So, I'll just read you like the Capricorn and then the rooster traits. Like I'll just sort of. So Capricorn is resolve, wisdom, ambition, generosity, superiority, dependability, and then this is sort of like the negative or the shadow side: stiffness, clumsiness, pretension, loneliness, Epicureanism, and self-doubt. Whatever. Those all seem pretty normal to me. And then the rooster is resilience, enthusiasm, candor, conservatism, chic, humor, cockiness, boastfulness, blind faith, pedantry, bossiness, and dissipation. So I share all those traits with you as well.
Dissipation?
I don't know what that even means. Like you don't have a lot of resolve, you dissipate, so but that doesn't make any sense. I don't know. Anyway, it's a good book, right? It's fun to like delve into that one.
It's super fun. I remember that. I think you also have one of those like head scratchy things.
Yeah, at the Tingler, which sounds kind of sketchy, but that's what it's called, is that we still have it. We tingle each other all the time.
It feels good. It
It
feels
really
tingly.
does.
I mean, it does describe its feeling very well.
Yeah, it gives you the oohs.
Ooh,
Ooh.
wiggle your spine.
Yeah.
So the costume that you picked to talk to me about today
Yes.
was from She Stoops to Conquer at Michigan Shakes,
Correct.
which is a show that I don't know anything about.
Well, it's one of those sort of long, farcy English plays. So there's a lot of silliness in it. And it's all about status, and there's like I can't even remember the plot all that well now. It's been
Doesn't
so
really.
long
I
ago.
mean, I feel like I saw somebody in like shirtless overalls and
Yeah.
a maid and like a guy in a stuffy jacket.
There's hijinks, and there's people dress in disguise and trick the other person, and haha, and then the old, the everyone's fooled, the rich dad gets fooled, and it's like that.
Hilarity ensues.
Hilarity ensues.
So yours was set in the 50s, is my guess.
Right.
And it was designed by
Amedei.
Amedei, who I found on the internet, went to school at North Carolina, and works here in Chicago, and was nominated for a Jeff last year. And I don't know this person at all, but she seems really cool, and she really likes Jim. So how can you go wrong?
Right.
And your costume, the one that you picked, is like this 50s dress, tight, sweetheart neckline with the boob accentuating ruffledy pink fabric.
Yeah.
And it looks like you're wearing a giant crinoline underneath.
I think I wore 3 crinolines.
Yeah, I believe that.
I was just supposed to be ridiculous. And so I had that sort of crazy red, like really cool, pretty color red wig, and it had like flowers and shit in it. It was very sort of like Carol Burnett-y, that sort of like just outlandish. And the costume was really fun. And then I could wear 3 crinolines, which was a lot of fun to like physically on stage to sort of deal with and show off. And when you have to sit down, and there was a lot of so, and I just really liked it. I thought it looked good, and it was fun to do that play in that costume. I loved it, and everyone else's costumes too I thought were brilliant, and the set and the direction. Cool. I mean, it was a great experience. But that costume was a lot of fun to just act like an idiot in. So
yeah, it looked silly, but like not like it was a silly costume.
Yeah.
It looked like, kind of flirty and fun, and
right.
It would be a good show to make, a good costume to like make people laugh in. I feel like the costume itself has a lot of
possibilities.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was like a Lucille Ball, Carol Burnett sort of like mishmash.
Absolutely. Totally.
So that was really, really fun.
And you wore some heels, some,
little wedges, little espadrille wedges, which were, easy to actually, was one of those where I bought them, I think, at the end of the show. Like I kept them for a couple of summers afterwards because they were so comfortable and so easy to, the show was very physical. But then I think I got rid of them. They finally died. Yeah.
They're probably, like usually those espadrilles have that like, rattan sort of like woven around the heel, and they just go.
They bite it.
Are comfortable.
Those might have been cork, but I think they were like they started splitting on the side. They just weren't up for it anymore.
I mean, two summers is great. 3 is
Yeah.
a miracle.
And a show, like after
And
a
a
show.
show,
Yeah.
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 That's
So,
amazing.
yeah. That was a really fun place to work. And I worked there 2 summers, and it's one of those places, and I had never done Shakespeare in rep. I've done like summer stock and musical, like that kind of stuff when I was younger. But I had never done Shakespeare. And so it was a real, like, really great experience. And, 3 different shows running in rep every season, and 3 different characters with 3 different, all the costumes and stuff. So it was pretty cool. I learned quite a bit, and had some really great costumes, and made lifelong friends, and did really great work. It was a great experience.
I would love to do something in rep. I've never ever done it.
It's a trip. You're like, okay, what time is it? What show is it? What costume? Or you kind of know what show it is by the rack of costumes that
Right.
you're like, oh, okay, it's that one.
Yeah. But I
So
think that's like a new challenge. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. Like, I think like once we go back to work, there's going to be a lot more work to work.
yeah.
I think we're going to have to do a lot more sanitizing of things every day.
Yeah, it's all going to be a different,
So I
protocol.
don't know if rep is really going to be the way to go, but
Who knows what the way to go is? If we talk COVID for a minute, once we get a vaccine, and I know that's going to take a while, but it's like we can do that. We have done it in the past. So we just got to figure out how to ride the wave until then to the best of our ability, and not just completely atrophy or have a nervous breakdown.
yeah.
So, because I feel like, it's all going to slowly start to come back once we get a shot.
Yeah, absolutely. I read today in the Times that
At least I hope. I mean, for fuck's sake. If not, then what? I don't even want to think about that.
no, I can't think about it. I can't think about it. But
Yeah.
in the Times today, they said that people were like building antibodies. People who had this shot, they got 2 rounds of it. And like the 8 people that were in the initial trial were building antibodies that were on an equivalent level to people who had recovered.
Was that the llama one? I read something about a llama.
I do remember seeing a llama, but this did not have anything to do with a llama.
Okay.
This is like the first like clinical trial. I just know that it was 8 people, and the next round is going to be 600 people.
Holy smokes. Okay.
So,
well, that's promising.
Yeah. I mean, the good thing for them too is like they get the shots, 2 shots, and then they just like draw their blood and they test like the antibodies in their blood.
Right.
So they are taking a risk because of course the vaccine must have a little bit of
it in there, of course. Yeah.
But at least they don't have to like get full on sick, or they haven't so far gotten full on sick. So
yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think in a year.
Yeah.
Maybe. Everybody just has to make it until then.
Yep.
Somebody posted this article today about the Globe is in trouble, and if they don't get federal funding, they're going to have to close. And I'm like, don't fucking worry about the Globe. Like, the Globe is going to be fine. They're never going to let the fucking Globe
close. Yeah, that's not going to happen. And
no.
They might have to go dark for a little bit, but it's going to be fine.
They're going to be okay. If one theater in the whole fucking world survives, it's going to be
that one.
Globe. Let's worry about everybody else.
Right.
I don't know why it made me mad.
I hear you.
But it did.
There's no justice in that. There's no sort of, that doesn't make sense.
No. Well, no, it doesn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? We're going to see what happens. We're going to hold on. We're going to hope that Bernie Sanders passes some fucking legislation to help us all until then.
Please. Please, somebody.
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 There it is. Um, my favorite costume of yours was something that I did not think I would have ever picked, but I think it's because you just rocked it so hard. Is this like glittery ass costume from Paramount's Mamma Mia? I
Yeah.
thought it was a dress, but it's pants.
Pants, man. Yeah, it's like it's a two-piecer, I believe. I think it was like pants and then like a tunic thingy over it.
Sure. I don't really know a lot about disco fashion. Maybe it's just an area personally I haven't studied, wasn't around for, and have never done a play in like 70s disco attire. But I guess it's a thing where you have these pants that like stop right below your knee and then they just like have a million ruffles.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. I
Um,
mean, when I was a kid, I was born in the late 60s, and so I kind of grew up in the 70s and 80s, but I had a pair. I should find that picture of me. I
yeah.
was little bitty. It'll take me a minute, but I can send it to you just for reference. Little bitty, had a little outfit where I had like a little pinafore, and then the pants and the pinafore matched. It was like a little smock, and then the
Yeah.
pants were regular pants, but they had like 3 or 4 ruffles starting about mid calf and went all the way down. Yeah, those were pretty like that. Those were not uncommon. In the same vein as like the bell bottom, like the sort of um
Yeah, it
that
looks
kind
like
of
they
leg.
naturally like progressed from the bell bottom
Yeah,
into this like more louder sort of kind of,
Charo kind of outfit.
yeah.
Very
Um,
Charo.
and of course, then I like had to Google a bunch of Mamma Mia's just to like get an idea, and it's real common for people to
Yeah,
wear these similar pants, although yours were like some of the most fabulous ones out there.
yeah. That costume was great for that number, and I'm glad I only had to wear it for the end because it was not Soup's comfortable, if I'm being honest.
I mean, I'm sure it was entirely made of plastic.
Well, it was hot, yes,
Yeah.
and they took care of this for me, but the first few times that I wore it, because the sequins go under the arms, so and we're like moving our arms and like da 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 da, and I came off stage and I was like, there was like fire under my arm, and I
Yes.
looked and I had like little like paper cuts from the sequins
Yep.
on the inner side of my arm. And I was like, hey, can you guys trim those suckers down? And of course they did, and it was fine. But you live, you learn. You like, oh, them sequins is sharp.
Yeah. Anytime I see a sleeveless like sequins dress, I'm like, fuck no.
Owie. Owie.
Absolute. It just looks like pain to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
'Cause those arms are never gonna heal.
Mm-mm.
We'll put like, oh wait, let's say it was designed by Matt. Do you know how to say his last name?
Hold on.
Guthier? Guthier,
Guthier.
who's the shop manager
Yeah.
and
Super.
designs at Paramount.
Yeah, they're super good folks over there.
But that's insane. How can you be the shop manager and design?
Because he's probably like a wizard.
I'm just saying you have to be a wizard, and there's no amount of money that they're paying him that is enough. That is
Yeah,
two
I don't know. I don't even
jobs.
know. Everyone seems really, Katie Courts is over there now. And, yeah, whatever. So she's not going to be anywhere where she's not taken care of. And um,
Yeah.
I love it. Everyone's so nice. The shop people are kick ass. I think people maybe take on a load of like maybe a little extra work, or they take on more responsibility because they love the theater so much and because it's such a great place to work.
It's a beautiful theater.
Yeah.
Um, I've only
Yeah,
seen
when I first walked on stage, like during rehearsal, and you rehearse in this little space, this sort of municipal building across the street from the Paramount, and then you'll walk across the street just to like check it out. And I had never been in it before, so I was like, oh, this is
Oh,
huge.
yeah.
Yeah, it was great though. It was a really good experience. I had a freaking blast, and um it was such a good time. And I
Some
thought the show, I mean, I loved the show. I thought it was a hoot and a
Yeah,
little different, you know?
right. only know what I know of it is from the commercial for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like ABBA songs, and then there's a daughter and a mother and whatever, and marriage
Yes,
and
yes.
singing, and your stepfather and who's your real father,
Yeah.
and Jeff Diebold was in it with you.
Yes.
Oh, Jeff.
Just, salt of the earth. Good dude.
Love that dude.
Yep.
And Sarah Savini, who I did a show with this year.
She's the bomb.
So funny.
I've known Sarah Savini for a really long time. So
Yeah.
there you go. She's old friends. Like, actually, she came with Mark. Like that, when I met Mark and we started dating, or Monty, as most people know him, there's certain people that you acquire in the relationship, and she was one of them. Like like most of the factory theater people all came with Monty on board. Like, so, and she was one of them. So I've known her as long as I've known my husband, basically.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it is nice. She's an uber talented, sweet pumpkin lover and hilarious.
I agree. She
Yeah.
was very funny.
We
And
were so happy because we'd never been in a play together. And then we got cast in that. We were like, holy shit, we get to be in this insane musical together. This is amazing. It was a blast.
did you wear a wig? Didn't you dye your hair blonde? What happened?
No. I mean, I did probably bump up my highlights because it's supposed to be on a Greek island and you're always out in the sun. So we all, like, I was tan anyway from the summer, and then I just sort of kept, like a little spray tan. I mean, it wasn't like I had to be on stage in hardly any clothes, but you had to look like sun kissed. So I just put a little extra highlights in my hair, and that was it. I didn't wear a wig. Mm-mm.
Oh, nice.
No. Yeah.
Do you like to wear a wig?
I love wigs.
Yeah.
But I guess it sort of depends on like the level of transformation, for Mamma Mia, it wasn't, I didn't want to look too far from myself, so
Right.
I didn't, but for a period piece, or, something that I have to look older or different or whatever, then a wig is fine. And if it's a beautiful, well-made wig, then it's such a dream, because you could just kind of step into a different, like, world when you put that thing on. It really does help in a lot of ways.
It took me a while to kind of understand too the beauty of, like, not spending that time doing your own hair every show.
Oh my God, yes. Yeah.
Because I've had people wear wigs that were very similar to their own hair, but I mean, like, styled, obviously.
Sure.
And you think, oh, we could do that with your hair, but like an hour and a half every day.
Hours. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, I've worked at theaters where I kind of took it upon myself to sort of design my hair, and I've bought like little weird hair pieces to sort of, so I would use a lot of my own hair, and then I would sort of, add a thing with like curls or like make it more period. And, that was very time consuming, but it was worth it to me. I was like, this makes me feel more comfortable and like real, in my character. So I liked it. And I don't mind wigs at all. I mean, they're hot and they can be a pain in the ass, but normally they're totally fine and kick ass. So.
Yeah, I would want to wear a wig. Not that I want
a bad wig is weird to wear. I've had some really bad wig situations, and then you're not so happy about wearing a wig, because then you're like, well, this is not helping me and I'm hot.
Yeah, of course we have the benefit of having some of the most amazing wigs ever available to us, human hair, and this lovely soft
and all the
theater
stuff.
$1 million lace. And
no, so there's a real there's a huge jump. You can have like CST wigs or the equivalent, and then you can knot, and the knot is something you kind of have to just go, okay, well, okay.
Yep. Well, and especially too, like in the summer a lot we do kids shows, and kids shows are made of different materials. Sure. And like we've put like plastic rope wigs on people, which looked amazing, and like they required almost no maintenance because they were actually made of rope, like
right,
to a hat. But oh my God, they had to be so hot.
Hot, yeah,
Thankfully,
real
you
hot,
only wear stuff like that usually for one number, but
yeah.
yowza. What kind did you wear? Is there like tap dancing, or what kind of dancing is involved in ABBA the musical?
I didn't have a whole lot of dancing, but there is a shit ton of dancing. There's a whole ensemble, and some of the most talented Chicago actors and singers and dancers, you know, all young whippersnappers, just busting their ass, having the best time. So yeah, there's a lot of groovy dancing in that show. I didn't participate in a whole lot of it. I had a little bit here and there, a little bit of this action, a little bit
Little
of
cha-cha.
little something something, but nothing like what the kids did. Yeah. I was going to talk to you about a quick change that I had once. There's two quick changes I wanted that I made notes.
Oh, yes.
There was, I mean, if I don't, unless, am I getting us off course or does it matter?
Go for it.
So what, because it made me think about all the changes and the costumes and everything. And I thought, oh, okay. So when I was much younger, I did summer stock in Oklahoma City at Lyric Theater. And one of the shows was 42nd Street. And I was hired as a swing. So I sang and danced, like wherever they put me, I was going to do it. And so the most crazy thing is we had this number where we always had like, the tan character shoes, the nude character shoes, and I think we wore 2 pairs of tights. We wore like regular tights and then fishnets over them, nude fishnets.
Yep, sounds right.
And so we had this dance where we had these arbors. It was like a sort of a vaudeville sketch part of the musical. And so we're dancing with these arbors of flowers and these sort of long, they're sort of like lace net dresses designs, sort of on the bias, and we were doing all these intricate little moves and singing the song. And then as we come off stage, like everything was on a count.
Yep.
And we had to throw the ring on the thing, like throw the little hoopy deal on the ring, and then take the dresses had like whopper boppers down the side or the back or something, so we had to rip those off and put it in the hamper, and then we had to take off this wig and put that in the hamper, and then I went down to the smallest changing area in the land, and there was a bunch of us, and of course they had everything set up, but we had to go from that costume to the 42nd Street, we're in the Money finale number, so you had to put on a costume that was like a bodysuit with had like a little skirt and a little ribbon, and then a hat with a wig sewn in it, so we all looked the same. And then I can't remember if we had to take off our character shoes and change into tap shoes.
Yep.
And then after all that happened, like we completely transformed, and then we had to jump backstage and grab our dime, because we carried these dimes. Have you ever seen 42nd Street?
Yeah.
Where you have to, and then you come on stage and you have to throw it on your count and then jump on it.
Right.
And I was, how old was I when I did that? I might have been like 18, maybe 18 or 19. I was like, I don't know if I was so scared. Of like getting off a count and not getting on the dime on the ground at the right time, or like, it was just, and then of course, we all got the hang of it, but tech rehearsal, yeah, it was like the train wreck of all train wrecks.
Well, that's a lot.
It is a lot. And I mean, it was fast.
Yeah.
Like the change itself was super fast. And then to get your dime and to get centered and focused and be like, and then go, and like,
right.
Like you have to step out on a count. It was crazy. So that was a hard lesson, but a good lesson to learn. And what was possible, like you're like, oh, I can do this.
Yep.
This is crazy, but I can do this.
I think changing into tap shoes and a quick change is maybe the second worst thing you can ask me to do. The first being to change someone's socks.
Oh God.
But
Rude.
The second worst thing is into tap shoes, because usually if you have to change into shoes with laces, we'll fake the laces and we'll put elastic in there.
Yeah.
But tap shoes have to be tight.
Yeah, they gotta stay on your little foot
while you're flipping and flapping.
Yeah.
And flipping and tapping. And so you have to, like the boys' shoes have to be tied. And
Right.
we had, for the last show that we did taps in, we got these like speed hooks, which was the first time we've ever had those, which was great. Except sometimes they break
Oh,
like while you're doing it, so then you have to throw
awesome.
tap shoes, no.
Yeah.
And then you
And
have to
they're
have a
slippery.
screwdriver backstage because sometimes taps just like get really loose
Yep, they sure
all
do.
of a sudden.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the other one I remember, the last show we did together, which was Merry Wives of Windsor, which is where the garter hook song started.
Oh yes,
Um,
I said that we would sing it.
we'll sing it. And I also have, do you remember the song? Do you remember Tiny Part Girl from Troilus and Cressida?
Oh my God, very vaguely.
Yeah, I have a file on it. I found the Tiny Part Girl file. Because that's how stupid I am.
I love it.
Um, and the other one, do you remember the change that we had to do? You had to help me with because I was changing Scott on stage.
Yes, I do.
That gave me a hemorrhoid like every night.
It
It made me
was
so nervous.
it was a lot, and it was like, so Scott was on stage in a bath. Um,
Yes,
and then there was like a sheet or something that went up, and then you had to get him dressed behind the sheet on
while he's
stage.
talking.
Yes. And
It was like a 15-second change, and he had a fat suit on, and he was in the tub, and they had like bubbles so it masked, because he had taken the fat suit off and rolled it down, so it was still, he still had it on from his waist down, right?
yes,
And then they had these bubbles, and he had a towel around his neck so you couldn't tell.
yes,
And then he had these like stirrupy things built in the bottom of the tub so that he could push himself up. And then there was ensemble dudes that ran out with like these certain curtains on like these huge poles
yeah,
and stood around the perimeter of the tub, and the upstage end was open.
yes.
And so they kind of arced in at the top of the poles so that people up in the balcony
Could
or the
not
dress
see.
circle couldn't really see in there what was happening. And then Scott is delivering these lines. There's a whole scene going on. Robbie Lehman's on stage talking, and I'm Dolores of the chorus. I'm like his servant, and I'm back there. And so like normally in changes, you know, you have the ability to communicate, even if they're quick, you're backstage and your mic's off. But this is where on stage, his mic is live. We can't be like, no, get that. No, like there's no talking, which is really hard. I think in that sort of pressurized situation. But we had it choreographed, but when I would come off stage, I would get him set up in the tub and like drop his soap in the water, and then I would come off, and you would be standing there with the robe that he had to put on, like reloaded,
Yes,
so that you would drop it. We would hold hands, and you would dip your arms down, and then it would unfold onto my arms the way I had to unfold it onto his arms.
yes,
It was a whole thing. So then I would walk on stage and wait for the boys to go out ahead of me and make the curtain, and then I would run on, and then Scott would stand up, and my hands were free so I could use them. So I would help him get his fat suit back on, and he would turn around, and I'd zip him up, and then he'd put his arms behind him, and I would catch his hands and put his sleeves over, and he would come up, and then the towel would still be on his neck, so he would use that, and then that was it. And then then he stepped. I mean, it was fast.
I remember us
fast.
spending at least like half an hour just talking about it on stage, the three of us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just
There was
being
at one
like,
point
think
where
we
I thought,
should do this, and we were like, okay, no, that's not going to work. Let's try it this way.
yeah, I came up with I was very proud of myself because Scott was having trouble, and rightly so, getting up like quickly out of that like narrow little horse trough that they had him sitting in. And there was nothing for him to push off of to like get him. And he couldn't put his knees up because there was like a board.
Mm-hmm.
He was kind of trapped. And so I was like, I was thinking of someone giving birth and how you have to like, you need stirrups, you need something to like harness your legs. And I was like, can you put something so he can push off? And they're like, oh yeah. So they just came out and like, and like put these little ramps at the downstage thingy of the tub. And he was able to put his feet on that and like push himself up. And then it was much easier.
Yeah.
Or it was still scary, but like he wasn't struggling to like
I think initially too, they wanted you to put a t-shirt on him and then put the robe on him.
Did I
And
do that? Did I do it?
no,
No.
we came up with the idea to
Of the
keep the
towel.
towel
That's right.
in
That's
the
right.
robe so that you didn't have to, because he was going to have to stand up, you pull the fat suit on, zip it. He would have to turn around so you could tug a t-shirt on him, turn around again so you could put a robe on him.
There just wasn't enough time.
No.
Not for what Barbara wanted to do. And like, you know, there like the scene with Robbie was going on and it just wasn't, you know, he had to
Wasn't
like step
stopping.
out of that curtain and like be dressed sort of.
Yep. He
So
had another, well, and like he had another costume change in that show. There's like a crazy chase scene,
yeah.
and where he like goes off stage and he like sees a mannequin in a window and like steals the mannequin's clothes, and it was so fast, and I didn't do that change. I think it was Matthew that did it. And every night we were like, is he gonna make it? Is he gonna
Yes, yes.
And then there were like 2 weeks where he had like laryngitis.
Oh yeah, and
And
David
Turpentine was
the
amazing.
wonder study of all wonder studies.
Oh my God. And he came in, and of course he's got to do all this complicated shit that it took us, you know, a week to figure out.
Yeah.
And we were still just making it.
Just barely getting in there, yeah. Yeah, that was a crazy show. I loved my costume in that show too because it was so plain, but it was perfect.
And your wig.
I love my wig. I loved wearing socks with hose. I don't know why. I love those.
I have a great picture of you from that show. I'll send it to you and we'll see if it's okay for me to post it.
Okay.
Because it's like your whole leg, but you look awesome.
I liked the girdles. Like that to me was like, I like those. I mean, I don't mind wearing a corset. I don't mind. I feel like it's such a great way to sort of like feel in the moment in the character. And like, I love it. I love girdles. I mean, I'm not wearing one now, but on stage, sure.
And that was one of the greatest dressing rooms of all time.
You know, I've done a few, just not a lot of shows at CST, but the ones that I have done, I have walked away from those with like lifelong friends. And that the dressing room that when we did As You Like It, is where I became good friends with Kate Fry, Elizabeth Laidlaw, and Kate Buddicky and Barbara Zahora. And it was Barbara was in All's Well That Ends Well. All's Well That Ends Well. That was Leah, Linda Kimbrough, Barbara Zahora, Allison Green, like that whole situation. And then came Kate Fry, Kate Buddicky, and Elizabeth Laidlaw. And then Troilus and Cressida was fucking Sean Cross and Sarah Taylor.
Yep.
You know, and Mary Kay. Mary Kay and I are like, we're all so I feel like the payoff for those to make those friendships, to forge those bonds, and then you, like, you know, here we are talking about all this stuff, but it was such a relief to know that you were in charge or that you were there, you know? You have that sort of calming, assertive effect.
Yes.
Which I find, you know,
most of my job
really important.
That's most of my job, to be calming and in charge.
And assertive. And you're on the actor's side.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Which is always very, like, you were like, how do we make this good? Let's have a good time. Let's not. Yeah. I always love that.
Hell yeah. Well, funny. I mean, especially like when people are new and they're wearing clothes that they don't, you know, maybe they're not really comfortable in, or they don't know how to ask for things, like,
yeah,
you just got to be an advocate for people, and also for fun
times.
Yeah. Okay, so the Garter Hook song is actually a play on the Pit Pad song.
Was the Pit Pad song from our show or another show?
I don't know when the Pit Pad song was birthed. It's been around. It was a thing that I did one time, and then people loved it. And then we didn't really have pit pads for, I think maybe like Kelly did, or one person did, had pit pads for
Merry Wives.
Merry Wives, or maybe they had just like less sleeve. But everybody had garters
Everybody did.
and garter hooks.
Garter hooks.
Okay, ready?
Do we know what we're doing?
We're
I'm
gonna
gonna follow you.
Okay, I think it would go like garter hooks, don't forget your garter hooks.
We just tried to sing like the most atonal, like weird sounding sort of Gregorian, like occasionally be like garter hooks, garter hooks, don't forget your. Remember that? Like we would just try to
It's a
do
little bit like the in Harry Potter, there's like one time they sing the school song, and everybody can pick their like own style of singing that they want to sing it in. And this is what we would do. Some people would sing operatically, and but yeah, the pit pad song is pit pads, don't forget your pit pads, which actually comes from a Rugrats cartoon.
Oh.
That I watched when I was a kid. There's this Rugrats episode where they go see Reptar the dinosaur on ice, and they don't actually see the show, but the show is playing in the background while they're doing antics.
Yeah.
And I remember you like hear in the background, there's like, and they show you people skating around this dinosaur, and they're like, Reptar, gotta find that Reptar. And that lodged in my 9-year-old brain or whatever.
Stuck in there.
And the pit pad song came from that, because I don't want to touch your sweaty pit pads at the end of the night.
No.
And so if I sing a song about it, then one, people like a song and they sing along and it's fun. Yeah. But then two, they remember and they take out their own pit pads.
They do their own pit pads, yeah. Garter hooks, we just didn't want them to get in the wash. We need to take them out before we put them in.
Right, because they're going to fuck everything up, yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys would take your garter hooks off, and then I would put them back on.
Garter hooks, don't forget your garter hooks. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
And great. Do you remember were you there when we got on the whole, it was me, well, it was about the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Do you remember we did like parodies of that song?
Oh, yes.
Gordon Lightfoot and
yeah,
I don't know why or how, but now it's like it was a joke. We just like made up words to the tune of the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. It was good. I couldn't even do it now to save my life, but we got a lot of good material out of that, because everybody would take a stab at it.
Happen in tech, and you got to go with it.
Yeah.
What?
And Tiffany Yvonne Cox, remember? She's like.
She just had a baby.
And she just had a baby, yeah.
Oh, no.
She had a baby.
Denmark, right?
Is that?
I think that's his name.
Yeah, you're right. That's an awesome name, too.
I know. Well, they're like travelers. She's always been like a world traveler.
That's true.
So I don't know if that's where they got the name, but it's
maybe
great.
That's where he was conceived.
Maybe. I don't know, but having a baby at all and having a baby right now has got to be
intense. Sarah Taylor had her baby.
Oh my God. I haven't seen Sarah Taylor in 14 years.
She had a giant baby boy.
Way to go, Sarah.
Named Radley.
Oh, Radley.
She had him at home, and he was like 9 pounds something ounces. Like, it was no joke.
Wow.
So, and she already has a little daughter at Emerson, who's like about to be 3 this fall. In November, I think Emerson will be 3. So she's doing good. She looks amazing. She's just stronger than dirt. That one.
I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, it was. It is. She is.
Way to go, baby havers.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you have anything? Do you have any final thoughts?
I want to sing you a verse of Tiny Part Girl.
I want to hear it so bad.
This is a song that it was sort of a collaboration, but I see it as sort of like a punk rock number, or like just like, I don't play the guitar, but like someone like doom, 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 like on their guitar.
Sure.
So let's see. And then so ready? Like imagine like a sort of cutting guitar, like chung 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 chung, acoustic sort of, you know.
Yeah.
Her hands are clenched in fists of rage. She says her one line and then she walks off the stage. 'Cause she's a tiny pot girl. Yeah, she's a tiny pot girl. The pits of her costume are clean and dry. With excellent diction, she will tell you why. 'Cause she's a tiny pot girl. And then lastly, she loves the theater, it's plain to see. That's why she agreed to play whore number 3. 'Cause she's a tiny pot girl. There's like 1,000 other verses, but those were my favorites.
That's
That's right.
amazing. I remembered the line "tiny part girl," but
Tiny pot girl.
it's really an infinitely useful song.
Yeah.
Um,
And everyone, most people can relate to it at some point in their career, and or not. I don't know, but for me, it was like a theme. So
yep.
it was my theme song.
Well, you probably play 4 or 5 tiny parts. 4 or
Oh, I'm
5
the
tiny
queen
parts
of tiny parts.
in
Oh
the.
wait, here's a good one. Wait, one more. I just thought of this one I was reading earlier. Here we go. On that very subject. If you need a street vendor, a maid, or a whore, just let her know, 'cause she's played him before. She's a tiny pot girl.
Oh, they made me act in college, and that's like basically sums up all the things that I did. Street vendor, whore.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wench.
Yeah. Background mistress.
Oh my
Number 7.
goodness.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of like if that's what acting could be, I would so do that. If I could
Well,
only play like tiny little, 7 lines.
sure.
I'll do like 3 of them in a show, but that would
Yeah.
be
How
fun.
fun is that?
Yes, that's so fun. I always think the people who are winning are the people who like come on in one scene and like steal the fucking play and then
Leave.
fuck off.
Yeah.
That's the winner. Well, I'm glad you're alive and I love you so much.
I love you too. Thanks for the chat. This makes me like so like I miss you, and I want to. Can we just do this on the reg just for fun?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
I'm
Um,
not going anywhere. I mean, I think, like I said, I think we have like a year until theater. So,
At least. Are you? Do we Marco Polo?
you did it to me once. Somebody did it, like my brother-in-law or something. And so I had to sign up for it, and I looked at his thing, and then you sent me one, and I was like, okay, and then I took it off my phone.
Well, that's fine. No pressure.
Yeah.
It's just one of those like
Now would be the time to put it back on, though.
it's amusing, is what it is. You have actually Sean and Sarah and I use it quite a bit as sort of like instant messaging, sort of instant
Chatting.
lifing each other, like this is what's happening now in my kitchen, or I'm losing my fucking mind, or whatever,
Yeah.
And then it's also just amusing because we also just because we're actors, we entertain one another, which is nice too.
Yes. I'll put it back on my phone, and then we can Marco
I'll just send you
Polo.
stupid shit. You'll just yeah.
I'll probably just mostly send you cats.
Okay, I like that. I have a kitty and a puppy, and so I appreciate kitties.
Yeah, your kitty's named after Johnny Cash,
Johnny Cash, yeah.
who was my neighbor.
Johnny Cash was your neighbor?
Yes. Growing
Wait.
up, Johnny Cash he lived down the block, but like we went to his yard sale and we had his pull-out sofa in our basement, and my mom fell asleep with a cigarette and almost lit our whole house on fire with Johnny Cash's pull-out sofa bed.
That sounds like a country song right there.
That's literally what everyone says.
Really?
Yes. I've never written a country song, but I'm gonna have to about that someday.
Well, I'm sort of jealous of that whole situation. Did you ever meet him?
I met him several times. The first time I met him, I was 8 years old, and his mom, no, my friend Heather, her mom was his lawyer, or one of his lawyers. And so he came over to their house and he hung out with me while I was eating chicken nuggets.
I can't even. I can't even handle that. Like, I can't handle the truth, literally.
Yes.
I don't understand.
That's the first time I met him. And then, we lived right there and I worked at the Walmart there. And so he and June would come in all the time and she was so sweet.
Yeah, I've heard that about her, that she was a doll head, just like the nicest lady.
So
I
sweet.
think it's interesting that people of that sort of echelon of entertainment and sort of iconism, if that's even a word, would be like, I'm going to have a garage sale,
Right. Well, I mean, it's a small, it's bigger now, but I mean, it was a small ass town.
Right, but you'd be like, you'd think they'd have like people who'd be like, can you just back the truck up to the house and we're going to throw all this shit in it and you're going to take it away somewhere? Not
Right.
like, I know, we're going to have ourselves a garage sale.
Yep.
Because garage sales can be wonderful, but they're also a big old pain in the butthole.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's true.
It's fascinating. I love that they were like, I know, we're going to have a garage sale.
Yep. And they used to, this was a thing that like everybody in the town did, but in the summers, Walmart would have all these like rocking chairs that they would put out front that were for sale, but you would go shopping and then you would just like sit in the rocking chair in front of the Walmart for a minute.
Sure. Yeah.
So I remember specifically them doing that. It's just sitting out there in the rocking chairs.
My God.
Taking a break.
You got to write that.
Yeah. I mean, also the craziest thing, after he died, which was like terribly upsetting. He had his family home moved to Hendersonville where I lived, and it was like a museum, but it was never open. You could never go in there. There was just a big sign that said House of Cash, closed to the public. It was never ever open. And then after he died, they moved it back.
Oh no!
I know. And I just so happened to be on the road with my buddy Ian. We had been hanging out and watching a movie at his house or something, and he was driving me home. And we were on the road at 2 a.m. and they put the house on like a trailer. And we were the only people on the road to like see it leave the town.
Oh my God.
We like pulled over and just watched it go.
That's a trip.
It was incredible. And it was like kind of foggy. And it was one of those times where you're like, oh my God, I'm going to remember this forever.
Right. Is this really happening? Am I hallucinating this? Do you see what, like, they're moving? Gosh, that's wild.
I mean, it's also possible that we were high. But it did really happen. We weren't that high.
I believe it. Yeah. That's amazing.
It was
what a trip. What a thing to witness.
I know.
Yeah.
Those are my Johnny Cash stories.
I'm impressed. I'm very impressed. Well, I got to go make my son dinner.
Okay, well, tell everybody in your family I said hi.
I will. I love you so much.
I love you too, and we'll talk.
I hope that someday you'll be my dresser again.
I know. I hope so. I hope it's sooner rather than later.
But at the very least, I want to see your face.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. Love you.
Thanks for playing.
Thank you for playing.
I love you so much. I could do this all night. I just have responsibilities. Otherwise, I would.
I also have to cook, so.
All right. Bye, girl.
Bye, Amy.
See you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.